Hello, hello, my lovely Leos. Welcome to Vivid Vibration. My name is Christina. I hope that y'all are doing well. Leos, we have a shit ton of cards. We have the Mother and the Sword, the Starborn, the River, the Warrior, the Animal, the Medallion, the Stone, the Queen, the Nectar, the Threshold, and the Ocean. Well, I mean, the Sword is making a decision. The Mother is an identity, right? I feel like there is an idea of like, I gotta cut this. This is, I don't know. I almost feel like the idea of, sorry, I got really distracted by the dogs. I think they're just flopping. They're just huge. Anyways, sorry. The Sword, the Mother is the idea of identity. The Sword is the idea of like making a decision to cut away with confusion. And I feel like there's just like been a sense of confusion about who you are, what do you stand for, what do you want, what like da 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 da. Because a lot of times, I don't know. I mean, I think Leos are just like, you know, you go out, you have a drink, you talk to everyone and anyone about anything and everything, and you get to know all of these people, and you're just out there socializing, you know what I mean? Like, Leos are such social beings, but like also I think just as like ambiverts down the line, you know, like can be extremely social, but then like when you need to go recharge, you just need to go recharge. And I feel like there was almost this idea of like in your state of recharge being identified as something or as, you know, like a certain type of way, and you being like, yeah, about that. You know, like, I just kind of feel like that's not a thing. And I feel like truly just being like triggered by it to the point where like it makes this decision easier for you to like break away from an identity, because it's almost like that's so the opposite of true that I'm not even going to say anything to you. I'm just going to keep quiet, do the damn thing, and then you'll see for yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like, I don't know. I even think of just like, if there are people in your life and it's like, I don't know. I just think of like, sometimes people will try and sneak things into conversations, right? Like they're like, oh, I'm your friend, but I'm their friend too. And I'm just gonna, you know, like sneak these little like backhanded comments or these like nasty things or like these competitive and you look at that person and you think to yourself, you don't realize what you're doing. So you are not going to be held accountable for this. But don't think I didn't take note. You know what I mean? And I just kind of feel like this triggered decision that sends you in a direction. I don't know, because there is a sense of like missing out on something. And Leos, I don't know that this is necessarily our energy. You know, I feel like we've been exiting that energy. We've been doing the things, you know what I mean? Like, we've been anchoring ourselves into a sense of balance because we've been very loyal to an idea of what it is that we want from our lives. And I think that there have been people who have wanted to steer us in other directions and wanted to like lock us into identities and wanted to like, I don't know, guilt trip us or shame us into like adherence. And it's just kind of like, I don't know who the fuck you think you are, but I know who the fuck I am. You know what I mean? And I just kind of get this feeling of almost of like somebody else feeling triggered by that. Like, you stood up for yourself. You're dealing with a Leo, man. I don't even know. My mother always told me how much she hated Leos. That's why I came into the universe as a Leo. So proud. But you know, it does. I don't know. I just feel like this energy of like, listen, I don't know. I want to go back to that golden bubble and just being like, you can try and tap into my bubble with your nasty, and you can try and lock me into some identity because you saw me through some weird light at some weird time, you know, like that's who I like. Okay, well, you know, no real hesitation there. In fact, the fact that you would even say that to me is so irritating that I'm like, okay, cool. I just wanted to check. Done. The Queen of Swords, the Five of Swords, the Emperor, the Hierophant, the Ace of Pentacles, the Knight of Cups, the Eight of Swords. Well, again, I don't know. I just feel like this like, no bullshit. Like, you cannot get in my bubble. My bubble is safe. There are only those who are invited have been welcomed into my bubble. You know what I mean? And it's like, and if you weren't a part of that invite, then you're not welcome. You know, and I just kind of like, again, I feel like there are some people who are upset about it. I feel like maybe there are some people who are trying to like slide that in and see if they can trigger you. And the only trigger that occurs is you sealing that bubble up entirely. Sewed, tied a knot in it, you know, like sealed. It's time for me to come back to life, and I'm too protective of that to just, again, to hand it over to somebody who has done nothing but cause turmoil and pain and spread toxicity and nastiness and, you know, comes with this malicious energy. Like, no. I'm stepping into my balance. I'm going in a direction. I don't know, for some of my Leos, it could be a relationship. It feels like, I don't know, I just feel like you're getting a message. But it's like, I don't know, I feel like there is a sense of influence, because I feel like whoever was testing you, I don't feel like their intention was bad in any way. You know what I mean? I feel like sometimes you just got to figure it out. You know what I mean? I mean, I was talking to my son, and you know, he was like, you know, I really think you should talk to your mom. And I was like, you know, I hope more than anything that you have a wonderful, healthy, wonderful relationship with her, you know, and I'm so glad that you are able to have that. And, you know, that's just not, it will never happen for me. It will just never be a thing in my life. You know, that woman has caused too much pain and literally physically brings like curses on my house. You know what I mean? And she's competitive and she's jealous and she wants to slide her little, you know, she's just, bleh, you know, and she's not that way to him unless it's concerning me. And so when it comes out of him and I hear her, I know it's not him. You know what I mean? Like, I know his voice, and that's not his voice. And I know her voice, and that's her voice. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of like, but, you know, like, but he's welcome in my bubble. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, well, he will always be welcome, but like, she will never be welcome, you know? And for all of the reasons. And I just kind of feel like, because that's not like the identity that is wanted to be placed on me. You know, like, it's not an identity that I have any interest in carrying, because I don't have an interest in playing the victim of my life and coming up with excuses why I never accomplish anything. You know what I mean? And the accomplishments that I have accomplished are because I accomplished them, not because somebody dragged me through, you know, like the only reason her book was ever published is because my dad, you know what I mean? Like, the only reason she graduated from grad school was because of my dad. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, I don't want to be the person who expects everybody to do everything for me. In fact, I hate it when there are people that I encounter in life who just expect everybody to do everything for them. So when people want to act like I want people to do things for me because I just don't want to do it, I'm like, why are you an asshole? A lazy projecting asshole, nonetheless. Sorry, that was a tangent. I had a lot of coffee today, and now I just can't stop talking. It's probably really bad. We'll see. But I feel like you get it, Leo. I feel like you understand that you're just kind of like, you know, it's an identity that I don't want anything to do with. That's an energy that is very clearly not an energy that's okay, not an energy that's welcome. And while I am willing to accept some, I am not accepting all. And that's a boundary that you are allowed to hold, because the people who are there with you are safe. You know what I mean? You're safe. They're safe too. Eight of Swords. Four of Wands. The Moon and the Page of Swords. Well, I mean, the Page of Swords is just that idea of like focusing on what it is, your skill, you know, like following your intuition, working on yourself. And I think, again, practicing discernment about who you let in your golden bubble. I love that this card is golden, you know, because it's just, I feel like this energy is no longer like a main character energy, because you sealed up your space and you protected your environment. And when you do that, you have a safe environment to work in, a safe space to hold, you know? And I just kind of feel like you're stepping through, you're stepping past, you're moving beyond it. And I feel like if there's anybody questioning you, I feel like you're very solidly able to articulate why you feel the way that you feel and why it is that you're making the decisions that you're making. And I feel like there is a level of trust that has been acquired through just, if nothing else, consistency. Because fucking, you know, Leos are consistent. We're fixed signs. We can't help it. You know, I'm not going to be flitty and flighty, and I'm not going to be, I don't know. I'm not going to bow down to people who are weak. You know what I mean? The King of Cups and the Hermit. Well, the King of Cups is very emotionally detached. And I do feel like part of this has been learning to emotionally detach yourself from things in your life. Because if you emotionally react, you lose control entirely. You know what I mean? Your emotions are such fluid things. And sometimes if you're feeling very emotional about something, the best thing you can do is emotionally detach and figure out what you want and why. And set your standards accordingly. And then build your bubble accordingly. and allow people in accordingly. Because the Vessel, the King, and the Tear. Well, Leos, it's been in our reads for quite some time, but I just kind of get this feeling of like there's a decision that's been made that that not everything can be fixed. Not everything can be salvaged. And that's okay too, you know, because if you're not carrying around a bunch of broken things, then that means that you're holding space for the new. And I feel like the new, Leos, is where it's at. And I love that. All right. If this does resonate with you, please give me a like, share, and subscribe. And I will see y'all again soon. Bye.